So you want to learn how to make rice. This is the worst place to make rice. I've never used this microwave. I figured I would use it just for something, and it was to hold the camera that contains you. My microwave. I wanted to talk a little bit about cooking rice. I'm going to show you over here the method that I found that creates perfect rice every single time. Now, I do have a Zojirushi rice cooker. I imagine this would work with any rice cooker, maybe even an Instant Pot, which I don't know, maybe even on the stovetop, but specifically just a rice cooker. This is the method I've used for a couple of months now, and it comes out perfectly every single time. So I wanted to share that to you, show you what I do. Before we get started, I did want to point out that I've only used this method with small and medium grain rice. Might work with large grain rice. I rarely use large grain rice, so I don't know. The other thing, it doesn't work from my perspective with brown rice at all. So it's only worked with, I've only used it with short and medium grain rice. I tried it with brown rice, didn't work. So now let's get started. All right, so first you're gonna need the bowl that it's going in. This is a Zojirushi, and as you can see, the measuring lines kind of have faded, which isn't ideal, but it's what happened. And then next, you obviously need your rice. Now I use the Rice Factory. It's rice out of Japan. I think it cooks up the best, but it really doesn't matter all that much what you use. Most rice cookers come with their own little cups, so use that. And I'm just gonna measure out 2. Maybe a little bit more. This next step I find to be fairly crucial. What you want to do is just rinse out the rice. As you can see, it is very murky water. You want to do this until it gets moderately clear. Doesn't have to be perfect. I think this will be it. Yeah, that's good enough. So you can see, pretty clear. Not 100%, but good enough. Because the more times you do this, the more buoyant the rice gets and the more likely it is to come out of the bowl, which obviously is completely undesirable. So there's that. And then I actually store my rice water. I know this is like way too much. In a copper vessel, and I vortex my water. You obviously don't need to do that. I don't have an exact measurement anymore for where how much water is supposed to be in there. I just kind of go by, you know, sight. You can use just the recommendations on the rice, whatever the packaging, whatever the rice came in. All right, so you want to let this sit for minimally an hour. If you don't have this much time, don't even do this method. You really want this to sit for as long as humanly possible. And then once it's done sitting, I'll be back and I'll show you what the next steps are. It's been about an hour, maybe a little bit more. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see this on screen, but when the rice first came out of the packaging, it was a little more translucent. As it starts absorbing the water, it actually starts becoming opaque, like white. That's how you know that you're at the right stage. And then all I do from there is I just put it in the rice cooker. And then the rice cooker's on sushi. Can you see that? There it is. The regular sushi, and I just hit cook. And I'll see you when it's done. A couple of things that I wanted to talk about that you can experience with a rice cooker, probably with the Instapot, if you're cooking on the stove, which was right here underneath the microwave. You can get burning on the bottom of it. You can get it clumping together too much. You can almost have it creating like rice balls. Sometimes if you don't add enough water, it'll turn into like pellet rice, which is really bad. I think that's the only variations that I've run into. This kind of solves that all the way around, because if you soak the rice, even if you don't have enough water going into the rice when you cook it, it still has a lot of water soaked up into it, and it should come out fine. But I still recommend using the amount of water that the manufacturer or the producer or whatever of the rice suggests, and don't add any more to that. So just let the rice soak up all it's going to soak up, and then just put it in the rice cooker and just cook it. The only time I've run into an issue where I had to add a little bit more water is if I'm only making like a half a cup or a cup of rice. Then you have to kind of pay attention. You might have to add a little bit more, maybe not. So that should solve all of the issues. But the next step that I'm about to show you upgrades it so much that you absolutely have to do this next step. And so here it is. And after about an hour, here it is done. You can see it's on keep warm, which is the standard setting after it gets done cooking. Here's the rice. You can see it's very hot, a lot of steam coming off of it, and how textured the rice is. Now that is what happens after you soak it for like an hour or two. But the next stage of this is actually what makes it really, really stand out and really amazing. Now this spoon right here is a rice paddle. It has those like little divots or whatever you call it on there. If your rice cooker didn't come with these, you can actually buy them at like a Chinese place or an Asian store or online. I would highly suggest it. But the next phase, you have to fluff the rice and do this very gently. If you don't do this, then your rice is going to start sticking to the bottom. It's going to start sticking to the bowl, sticking to whatever. Even though this is actually technically considered a sticky rice, you can actually test or taste each grain of rice, which is phenomenal. It also tastes so much better because it soaked up water before it actually cooked. It also is not going to stick to any of the bowl or anything. Like you said, it didn't even stick to the paddle. Now here you can add rice vinegar, salt, and sugar like they do in sushi houses. All I'm going to add is a little bit of Redmond sea salt, or Redmond salt. It's not really sea salt, Redmond salt, and that's it. I didn't want too much salt. I actually don't like when rice is too salty. Sometimes in Asian restaurants, they salt it maybe a little bit too much for my taste. And just fluff it one more time. Let it cool for a little while before you eat it. And that's really the magic. I mean, this will stay perfect like this for, I don't know, I've had mine go for like 4 or 5 hours on keep warm, maybe a little bit more, and it just stays like this. But the key is to get it as soon as you possibly can so it maintains that structure, because if you don't, it'll start turning into rice glue. And that's the trick of the whole thing. Hope you enjoyed it. And that's it. Thank you for watching. This has produced perfect rice every single time, no fail, just good rice. There's one that is also very popular in Japan. It's a little bit more labor intensive. It's a little bit more time. It produces a pretty good rice grain. This one, honestly, I think is so simple. But if you want to see the other one, let me know. And I can't think of anything else to add to it. This solves all of the problems that I've ever run into with having a rice cooker or cooking it on the stove or cooking. I've never cooked it in an Instapot. And this also solves the issue of if you have it on keep warm for too long, a lot of the times the rice will kind of just turn into a glue. And then it'll actually even start sticking to the sides of the bowl, even though it's a non-stick bowl. This as far as I've ever seen, alleviates it even sticking to the bowl. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down in the comments section, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Peace.